cause my life. I'm ready to release all thoughts that no longer serve me. And immediately, my life transforms for the better. So in this moment, I breathe in love, and I breathe out any outworn beliefs. Breathing in love, and breathing out any outworn beliefs. I allow the divine mind to fill my awareness with all I require as I move forward in the best way for me. I open to my good now. I feel my heart opening even more as my good flows in and through me, as me. I recognize, accept, and affirm that I am worthy and I deserve all the best life has to offer. And as I affirm my good within Divine Mind, I know it is already done. For Spirit always says yes. I know my good is unfolding. I see myself enjoying life in ways that are beyond my imaginings. And in this moment, my imagination expands. Wow, life is good. I'm so thankful to be in this place of gratitude. And as I breathe in love, I also breathe in gratitude. I feel every cell of my body vibrating with this thankfulness. For I know that my word is taking form in my life and in my affairs. I'm so thankful for this awareness, for this truth that is who I am. I radiate joy, peace, love, balance and harmony in all areas of my life. I know my good is here now. And I feel safe and accepted. And in this place of safety and acceptance, my creativity flourishes. I am surrounded by friends and people I love. And in this place, my creativity grows. My ideas are divine ideas, creative ideas. And I keep going, and my creativity keeps flowing. am fully supported in all I do. And my life builds on the strengths that I have. The people in my life enhance my life. And I know that my success is born in generosity. And so today I open to being even more generous. I stretch myself beyond what I have done before. And so now I also bless the success of others, for it actually blesses me as well. And as I take a deep breath in, I remember that God is my source and my resource. And with God power flowing through me, anything is possible. For I am a conduit for spirit in this life. And I bless this knowing. And so I follow my creative ideas, my divine ideas. And I am led to my best life, to my most fulfilling life, to creative and wonderful growth in areas that I choose to focus on. So I know that the Creator within me is right here where I am. And as I take this time to focus on this truth, I remember that I am the hands and feet of Spirit, and all I do is a blessing to the world. And so in this moment, in this openness, in this understanding of allness and oneness, I welcome even more creative and divine, expansive ideas. And I feel the power and the presence of this one source flowing in and through and around all things, seen and unseen. I feel the love that I am expanding beyond every part of my being. I know there is a plan, and that plan is good. Within the deepest parts of my being, I acknowledge all is well. I am safe. I know deep at the core of my being that life is conspiring for my good. So today, in faith, I make a commitment to myself to allow and receive all Source has for me now. And I take a moment of contemplation to allow the flow of this good. And again, I breathe in love. And I exhale all that no longer serves me. Breathing in love. Exhaling everything else. And as I let go of all thoughts and feelings other than this deep, abiding peace, I have a gentle knowing that I am loved beyond measure. And as I allow this truth to wash over me, I relax. I feel the gratitude at the core of my being, spreading out into every cell in my body, out beyond who I am, to the world around me. I see it spreading through the room that I'm in, to all the people that I encounter, to the city I live in. I see it encompassing the entire planet. And I know that the love that I am is infinite, eternal. For I am in love as well as expressing love. So I release these truthful thoughts to the law of mind action, knowing that it is already true and done. I am so blessed, so thankful. I let go and I let it be so. Please join with me in affirming, and so it is.
Good morning, everybody. Nice of you to be here in the sanctuary today, seeing familiar faces and maybe new ones. Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center of Hamilton. We are happy for those who are online as well. We always appreciate your presence. So, my name is Marcia Daly, and do we have any visitors? Yes? I'm looking right at you. So, because you're here for the first time, there is a welcome gift for you. And if you can see me at the end of the service, I'll be happy to give you that. We are a tithing center, so 10% of all we receive goes back out into the community to bless and serve. And this month we are supporting the Native Women's Center. So let's begin with the song of the month. We have our special, what would you call that? A quartet, the Universals, coming on for the third time. That's a charm. No, there's no last. We may hear more of them in the future.
We are marching in the light of God. 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 The light of God. We are marching, marching, we are marching, marching, we are marching in the light of God. The light of God. We are marching, marching, we are marching, marching, we are marching in the light of God. We are living in the love 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 of God. The love of God. We are living, living, we are living, living, we are living in the love of God. The love of God. We are living, living, we are living, living, we are living in the love of God. Siya Habakkuk Kwenkos, Siya Habakkuk Kwenkos. Siya Habakkuk Kwenkos, Siya Habakkuk Kwenkos, Siya Hamba, Siya Hamba, Siya Habakkuk Kwenkos, Siya Hamba, Siya Hamba, Siya Habakkuk Kwenkos.
Applause, applause.
That's where I would like to be. It's kind of a pretty good likeness, eh? Wouldn't you say? Hi, everyone. I'm Reverend Anna Hokangas, and it's my absolute delight to be here today with you. And for those of you online, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is always a great day here at Unity. So let's begin with what I say is my favorite thing to do, and that is to remember that Spirit is all that is. And I do that in prayer. And really, prayer for me is just remembering and connecting with the Spirit within. So if it's comfortable, read this with me and allow the words to really sink in. I believe life is good, God is all there is, and love is the only power. I align myself with the power within to create my best life, and so it is. It's a beautiful song by Sue Riley and Glenn Rothal and the Universals. I am love.
Word is source, and the affirmation, I'm never separated from source, my spiritual nature. There is no end to our infinite power expressing by and from our source our spiritual nature. It is absolute and does not change. It is always maximal. Our spiritual nature is our source for all divine ideas. In the changing relative realm, we are bringing more and more of our divinity, divine ideas, into realization out of our spiritual nature. We are individually and collectively source at the core of our being. When we turn our awareness to source, our spiritual nature, we can be more fully expressions of love. We use our spiritual power in every challenge we face and every choice we make.
I'm good.
It's gonna fall.
It's gonna fall off.
Oh, you leave it down here.
Costume change.
Take the right key.
Yep. Let's go.
God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. Joy is my source. Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. Peace is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. Amen.
Okay, now for the meaty stuff. So today we're looking at celebrating life as source, not with source, but as source, or who me? Change the world? So I like to begin with something funny, if I have something funny that I can share. And today it is that I was at the gym, and I go to the gym not to exercise on weights, but to swim. And so I always go in the family change rooms because the cubicles are more comfortable. And so I'm in one of the cubicles and I'm changing after my session. And I can hear my friend Mary outside of the cubicle somewhere in this area. And she's sounding really distressed, and she says, "You know, I don't want to see you anymore. Every time I see you, you hurt me." And I'm thinking, who is she talking to? And I open the door, and her physiotherapist is there with her, and he says, "Mary, I only had you do one sit-up." Some days life is like that, right? So I have another one. And this one's kind of funny, but not quite. So this is Mary again. You know, she's my favorite friend, and she always does all kinds of things. And so she has finally decided that the world has gone to hell in a handbasket, and she is upset. Like, it's just terrible out there, the things that people are doing to each other and all of that. So she goes to the pearly gates, and she's standing outside, and she's knocking on the pearly gates saying, "God, you have to come and talk to me." And she's knocking, and finally God says, "Yes, Mary." And she said, "Well, God, I'm here because the world's going to hell in a handbasket. Like, what are you going to do? And he said, I sent you. So, who, me, change the world? So that's our topic today. So choosing to trust God, and I put a small g intentionally there, because I think the word God has a lot of energy for a lot of people, and it doesn't allow to really hear the truth of life, the truth of the message. And so I do use God occasionally, and sometimes I use George, it, the thing, whatever is comfortable for me at the time, because I think of it as a divine essence. So choosing to trust God, even when the path is counterintuitive, countercultural, and we can't see the final outcome. That's what I'd like to look at today. But in trusting Source, we can change the world. So can you think of a time where you just felt compelled to do something and nobody understood? It was almost difficult to share it with somebody else because they just didn't get it. And yet you knew that you had to do it. Maybe it was someone you fell in love with and it was the person you needed to be with. You didn't know if it was for a lifetime, but you needed to be with them and everybody else disagreed. Or maybe it was something else. Maybe it was moving across the country or taking another job. And you didn't have the support, but you knew somewhere in your gut that this was something you needed to do. Can anyone relate to that? Yeah. There's a few hands going up. So I'm going to talk about Evan Almighty. Anyone seen that film? Yes. Changing the World, Opportunity and Doing Good. So what obstacles get in the way of your divine source? Is it your busyness, your doubts, your fears? Maybe it's your perceived lack of love, uncertainties. You know, we can't sleep sometimes when we forget because we're worried. We think we need to do it. We need to be the one. In Proverbs, it says, trust the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Now again, I would translate that to source, resource, and I wouldn't call it him, I would call it it. But what it's saying, and this was written a long time ago, that there is this essence of life that if you trust it, because we have it within us that's constantly whispering to us, sometimes loudly, sometimes whispering, and it's guiding. So this is the introduction to the first clip from the film. So Evan Baxter is a newly elected congressman, and he has promised to change the world. And reluctantly, at his wife's urging, he has prayed that he might be used as this agent of change, because his wife really prays, but he really didn't. And he thought, well, he finally went on his knees next to his bed. In the film, you see him saying, okay, God, I need to change the world. And his wife, Joan, has prayed for their family to get closer together. So both will be astonished when God answers in a direct and precise way. As this clip begins, God has just appeared in human form to Evan, giving him evidence to validate his divinity. Then he gives Evan a perplexing assignment to become a modern-day Noah and build an ark. Now, I mean, we think that some of the prompts we get from Spirit are big. Can you imagine? What? Me build an ark? It's really a well-done film. So this is the clip.
So, you're really him, aren't you?
You want more proof? I haven't done the pillar of salt thing in a while.
That's all right, I believe you. I don't understand why you chose me.
You want to change the world, son. So do I.
What? Well, why an ark? I mean, that's like flood territory. You wouldn't do that again. You wouldn't do that. Would you do that?
Let's just say that whatever I do because I love you.
Well, then you have to understand that this whole building an ark thing is really not part of my plans here. I need to settle into my house, I need to make a good impression at work. What?
Your plans.
What are you talking? We're talking about an arc, right? I mean, an arc? An arc is huge. I don't even know where I would begin.
Well, I hear that a lot. People want to change the world, don't know how to begin. You want to know how to change the world, son? One act of random kindness at a time. Build the ark. I'll tell you what, you build it, I'll fill it. And if anybody asks, tell them flood's coming. Oh, and you might need this.
Okay, so what do? I grab the wood. Oh, okay. You know, that's just cruel. Do you see him? I don't see him.
And you know, when we get those prompts, there is that uncertainty. What do I do next? And you saw him with all these splatters on him. It's because the birds and the animals 2 by 2 were starting to show up in his life, and the birds were flying all around him. And so they were pooping, they were sitting on his head and pooping on his face. It was just hilarious. And I mean, it's easy to want change, isn't it? We often say we want change out there. And most of us have a long list of things we'd like to see change, and we think that we know best. Change requires us to get out of our comfort zone. And boy, do we ever love the comfort zone. I mean, Jean sitting in the front row has just recently moved. Have you recently moved, anybody, or have moved ever? You know how difficult that is, and how that even itself is out of your comfort zone. Where are my things? Where's my stuff? This place is a different size. I can't put my pictures where I want them. You know, change takes us out of our comfort zone. So inner guidance often asks us to do something that we feel we don't have time for, we're not adequate to perform, can't see a purpose behind it. And sometimes all of the above. I know I feel so blessed, the 3 ladies and gentlemen that are singing and have sung for us the last 3 weeks. I reached out to them because I knew Emilio would be away for 3 weeks on his cruise, and asked them if they would revitalize the choir, because they had been singing together years prior, and I'm sure they had a little discussion with each other as well as to whether we're willing to do that, and you've done a great job, and we so appreciate it. And you know, as you notice, we sing along as well, which makes it really fun, and you know, you're with family. So for as much as it was asking a lot, we appreciate it, and you know what it's like to go through change, right? So what comes to your mind when you hear the phrase, change the world? Any ideas? Anybody want to say anything?
Margot and I spoke about this on the way to church this morning, actually, about how many people, engineers and individuals that might be worried about the ecology of the world, and that maybe they have sleepless nights. And I said, everybody's on a journey at a different pace, and I think that there's a lot of people aware of the ecology and the problems in our world, but don't know what to do, what they can individually do. So we just had that conversation.
And Patty is sharing that she had the conversation this morning, for those of you online that couldn't hear it, that we don't always know what to do to be part of the change. And so what is it that you can do? I would suggest to get quiet and ask yourself inside, because you're connected to all of life, to all of the things that are going on around in the world, including within you. And there are answers that will come that come from within you of what you can do. In that little film clip, he said, one random act of kindness. What can you do without expecting anything in return that is a random act of kindness? And you get that opportunity all the time. It's just a matter of deciding to see life that way, and then you will see the opportunities. So what is one way you would change it if you were able? I would really love for people to be more understanding of each other. It's part of the training that I have done over the last little while. One of the most amazing things that we did was we learned how to talk in a talking circle. The native Aboriginal people do that in many cultures. And when you have the talking piece, whatever it is, it can be a feather, it can be a book, it can be anything that you as a group decide. But that is the person that is listened to. And you're invited to not plan any response in advance, but to just be truly listening. And one of the successes of those kinds of circles is that at least 20% of the time, so if you're meeting for an hour, 20 minutes of that time needs to be sharing something personal about you, so that everyone in the group gets to see you as an individual, as a human being, as somebody that is not a stranger, but that perhaps has something common with each other. So I invite you, when you are looking at how do I break through perhaps a barrier with another individual, get curious about who they are and allow them to see who you are so that you can find some common ground, because that really is where you begin to change the world. And you notice it wasn't about any big crowds. It has to do with you and whoever you might be interacting with. You know, I share this often, but my husband Randy seems to be able to do that with anyone. He can bring laughter out in even the grumpiest puss that's out there, because they'll say, you know, how are you today? He'll go, yay! And I mean, how can you help but not go, oh, and laugh? And you've broken the mold, broken the barrier. So is there something in your life right now that you feel God's leading you to do, but you feel inadequate or unable to accomplish it? Is there? I was just invited to be on the Unity Canada, Unity Worldwide Ministries, I'll call it Standards Committee, as a regional representative. And I said yes because Spirit said say yes. And the first thing I thought was, I don't know anything about this. And my job is to inform and be a liaison between the two organizations and to have them understand that we want to be part of Unity here in Canada, worldwide, and that they need to recognize that it's different. The laws and the ways that things are in terms of the government here and all of those things are very different than in the United States or other countries. And so my role is to first hear what they're planning on doing and let them know how it might or might not fit in with what we're doing here, and that we want to play together, and how can we do that in the best way possible and keep everyone informed. So I know I have at least one person in the audience here who, Pat Ball, Reverend Pat Ball, who has done this role and will be my, hi Pat, can you help me? And it's how it begins. Whatever it is that you're about to embark on, know that the resources and the source within you are available. You just have to ask yourself, okay, where, how, show me. And it begins to happen. So this is the introduction to clip 2. In agreement to God's instruction, Evan begins building an ark. Some unusual things accompany his ark building, such as growing a long beard even after shaving and wearing a biblical style robe. Now when you see the full thing, you see him actually shaving and his beard just keeps growing back. Eventually his hair is white, his beard is white, and like he can't do anything about it. When he tries to wear his suit disappears and he's naked, so he has to wear this robe. And I mean, it's like God is just saying, no, you have to do this thing. So Evan's wife, Joan, is baffled and embarrassed by her husband's behavior, as you can imagine. Can you imagine having a partner who's going through this? Like, what the heck are you doing? And especially after he's suspended from Congress and he becomes a feature on national news. she takes their sons and leaves. Like, she just thinks, this is not a good environment. He's blowing up. And so as this scene opens, she's eating at a diner, unaware that the waiter who strikes up the conversation with her is actually God himself. So praying for the opportunity. And she had prayed, remember, to bring the family together.
Oh, excuse me, can I get a refill, please?
Coming right up. Excuse me, are you all right?
Yeah. No, it's a long story.
Well, I like stories. I'm considered a bit of a storyteller myself.
My husband, have you heard of New York's Noah?
The guy who's building the ark.
That's him.
I love that story. Noah and the ark. A lot of people miss the point of that story. They think it's about God's wrath and anger. They love it when God gets angry.
What is the story about then, the ark?
Well, I think it's a love story about believing in each other. The animals showed up in pairs. They stood by each other, side by side, just like Noah and his family. Everybody entered the ark side by side.
But my husband says God told him to do it. What do you do with that?
Sounds like an opportunity. Let me ask you something. If someone prays for patience, you think God gives them patience? Or does he give them the opportunity to be patient? If they prayed for courage, does God give them courage, or does he give them opportunities to be courageous? If someone prayed for the family to be closer, do you think God zaps them with warm, fuzzy feelings? Or does he give them opportunities to love each other? Well, I gotta run. A lot of people to serve. Enjoy.
Now, before it started, her plate was empty and she wanted more. Yeah. And all of a sudden, her plate was full. And if you notice, his name tag said Almighty. Almighty. So in reminding her of her prayer, that the family could be closer, God showed Joan a glimpse into the bigger picture of what was happening through building the ark. And I love his example of, if you pray for patience, you don't get patience. You get reasons to practice patience. If you ask for prosperity, you get reasons to desire having prosperity, right? And so it's to look at it not as a challenge, not as a problem, but as an opportunity. You discover how much you really meant your prayers when God gives you the opportunity to have them answered. And Eric Butterworth, who is a wonderful New Thought author, said the answer to your prayer is in the prayer. So if you're praying for rain, you're going to have drought. If you see yourself in luscious environment that has been rained on, that's a different story. And so that's what we teach here, is that pray from the place of already having that which you desire. And when you can be in that mindset, it starts to show up. You just become a magnet for it. So what is something that you believe your inner guidance has called you to do that is counter to what society, your friends, family expect? I remember one of the toughest ones for me was falling in love with my husband, Randy. My mother never liked anyone who was a boyfriend, let alone someone I was planning on marrying. And yet, I knew when I met him that he was someone who was going to be in my life for the rest of my life. And when I asked him if he wanted to be married, he's very non-traditional. He said, well, you're going to have to buy your own ring because I don't buy rings. I said, that's okay. You notice I don't wear really jewelry anyways. It didn't matter to me. It wasn't about the ring. And, we've moved forward in life, not having the same kind of family that I had prior to it, because I felt that this is where I needed to be. And, my life has been so fantastic and continues to be as a consequence of following my heart rather than someone else's. So is someone else attempting to impose what they think your life ought to look like on you? where perhaps you need to follow your own heart. I invite you to do that. Makes a difference. Have you ever chosen to stand side by side with someone in something that they felt was God's will, even though you did not have the same direct assurance? I know that Randy has stood by me when I have wanted to make change, move across the country, even move back here. And it's wonderful to have that kind of support. I hope that all of you have that support. And if you don't, call me, and I'll be that support for you. Because I can believe for you maybe sometimes when you can't believe for yourself. Because I've walked it. I continue to walk it. So when someone shares a decision that's counter to your expectations, how do you usually respond? Do you tell them you tried it and it was really lousy? Or do you say, yay, I'm so glad you're doing that. How can I support you? And if that's not been your traditional way of responding, I invite you to consider that and say, wow, that's something different, because maybe you are surprised by what they say. How can I be there for you? What can I do? Is there anything I can do? Know that I'm here. So this is the intro to clip 3. So Evan's story climaxes on September 22nd, when his family and a host of animals board the ark. This is the day when God has told Evan the flood will occur, but there is no rain falling. Instead, a crowd of mocking spectators. At the introduction of Congressman Chuck Long, the ark is about to be destroyed because they figure, this is it. We've got to stop this business. When suddenly this dam breaks that this Chuck Long has actually built. And the dam was commissioned and allowed to be poorly constructed by this corrupt congressman. So this is the "You Did Good" clip.
Hey.
Hey. What are you doing here?
Just hanging out with some old friends.
You knew all along, didn't you? You knew the dam was unstable. If it hadn't been for the ark, my family, the neighbors, I fought you every step of the way.
Yes, but you did it.
So you had nothing to do with the flood? Like where the ark landed exactly?
I gave you a little shove at the end. Sue me. You did good, son. You changed the world.
No, I didn't.
Well, let's see. Spending time with your family, making them very happy. Gave that dog a home.
Right, so?
So, how do we change the world?
One act of random kindness at a time.
One act of random kindness.
Wow.
Don't you love it? Now, of course, I'm not allowed to show you any more than that because it goes beyond copyright. So I invite you to watch this film, and we will be showing it here at some point on a Wednesday afternoon. So I will keep you posted on that. But it is a wonderful film, and I love this A-R-K. So I fought you every step of the way, he confesses, to which God answers, but you did it. Do you struggle in your mind? Do you have those little fights in your mind, like, yes, I'll do it, no, I won't. Yes, I'll do it, no, I won't. Yeah. It's time. Do the dance. Care to join me? And there's a part in it where he and God do that, that win the lottery dance. You want to do that with me just now? Yeah, let's do that. It even makes you feel good.
It's time. Do the dance.
Okay,
Care to
let's
join
get
me?
ready. I love that part. Yeah. somehow, some way, it all works out. The way to change the world is not always that huge or exciting. It's one random act of kindness at a time. And so people say, what is it that I can do? You know, there's all this stuff going on in the world. Start right here with you. Or another way to put it is being dedicated to do the next thing that's placed before us. And have you ever tried to push through a door that just won't open, but it's really easy to go the other way? And why do we think we need to be the strong one to try and open the door? Why not go the easy way? Because that is the next thing to do. Even if that is a mundane thing like cleaning up the kitchen. Or as unsung as rejecting that lustful last look, second look. Or as unappreciated as putting in another day of doing your best at a job that you can't stand. Because if you weren't meant to be in that job, you wouldn't be there. If you weren't meant to be in that situation, you wouldn't be there. You're here by divine appointment. You are in every situation because that is what's perfect for you. And the next moment, and the next moment, and the next moment. And does that mean you're a puppet? No. But you get to choose. Do you go with the flow or do you resist? So as we lean into the idea of surrender, our call is to do what's next for us, become stronger. I know when I let go, the relief that I feel, I'm ready to just tackle just about anything rather than to feel restricted and resentful. We can also commit to hear each other's fears and be able to be a listening ear of support. And that was something in the talking circle that I also learned. And I already was pretty good at it, but I learned it even more deeply. And that is that I don't have to have the answer for you of how to do it. Sometimes all I need to be is the one hearing it. Because when you hear it said out loud, the answer comes bubbling up. We hear our own fears. We let go of them and become inspired to live our best life, the life that we were born to live and the life that lives in service to the greater whole. And you may think, I don't have enough energy to serve the greater whole. Serve yourself first. It's like on an airplane. Give yourself oxygen first before you give it to someone next to you, so that you are fulfilled, so that you have what it takes to help the next one. So the source of all life does have a plan for every part of creation. Would you agree with that? We just don't know specifically what that plan might be. And that's the same with things that are going on with your life and with people in your life. You might say, I really don't understand why they continue to do that. There's a reason behind that. And you may never know what it is, and they may never articulate it to you, but to recognize that it's the same as with you. Your life is perfect until you change your mind and experience something else. You have that ability to do that. There's a divine order to things. Would you agree with that? By not attempting to predict outcomes, not fretting about the how, we open the way to our best life to reveal itself easily and quickly. I always want to know how. And that often gets in my way. Because the resolution is sometimes something I could never have even imagined. Our part is to keep centered on Source, the Source within. As all good, loving, supportive, and then to trust and simply trust. Do you believe that the Source is within you? Do you believe it's communicating with you? I hope you do, because it is. So it's a wrap. It requires diligence and purpose to break free from any habitual old patterns of negative responses. So I invite you to set your mind and your diligence to change some of your old patterns, even if it's just in your thinking. There's a perfect plan for your life, but it might take some practice to get to the point of completely trusting life to bring about that plan. See, you have special likes and desires, different than what are mine. And as you pursue those, life unfolds for you in the perfect way. By not expecting a specific outcome, you open the way to your best life. And it can happen easily and quickly. And if you're used to struggle, you might say, that was too easy. I need it to be harder. Have you ever said that? I have, because I tend to like to push the envelope. And I'll go like, this is too easy. How can I make it more challenging? And so I become my own worst enemy. So how can I challenge myself and not be my own worst enemy? By recognizing when I'm pushing just to try and make things happen a certain way versus moving forward with some challenge because I'm learning something new. And there's a difference. When you contact the wisdom of life within you, you feel the assurance that all is well. And you know, I often will just stop, close my eyes, and breathe. And I can feel that there is a peace at the core of who I am, in spite of everything that's going on around me. And I invite you to do that often. To live your life to the fullest and best, it's imperative that you trust your inner wisdom, the source of all. So what did we talk about today? What did I talk about today? Celebrating life as source. Because life is source. You are the hands and feet of source. And who, me? Change the world? You are with every breath you take. Just being here, you're making a difference. So let's celebrate life with the universals.
Let's celebrate life. Let's give it a cheer. Let's celebrate freedom, peace, and love each day of the year. Let's run up a flag so people will know that life is great when you start living. Ready, set, glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. The truth has set us free. Let's celebrate life. Let's give it a song. Let's sing about peace and love and freedom all the day long. Let's fire a salute so people will say it's great to be alive and living. Hip hip hooray, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. The truth has set us free. Let's celebrate life. Let's give it a toast. Let's talk about freedom, peace, and all the things we love most. Let's send up a flag so people will shout. Life is great when you start living. Come create a life worth living. Celebrate the life you're living. Sing it right out. Glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. The truth has set us free.
Thank you, ladies. Okay, now is our time to practice the law of circulation. through conscious giving. And this includes financial giving and receiving, and also asking and forgiving, blessing and praising. You can give right here in the sanctuary as we pass the basket as a way of receiving your financial support for our center, or you can e-transfer to admin at unityspiritualcenter.com or go to our website to donate. There are so many ways, in addition to your financial support, that we support the center, and that's through being here, through being online, through volunteering, and we are so grateful for our volunteers, and through the prayers we say for our community, for the loving thoughts you bring to this gathering, whichever way you choose to contribute. We are grateful. And so I invite you to think about that now, and also how your giving has blessed your life. With that in mind, I ask you to place your hand on your heart as we say this affirmation with me. Divine love that I am, blesses all I give and all I receive. And so it is.
Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. I'm not holding it in anymore. I'm gonna shout it out loud. I understand now what I'm here for, and what this life is about. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand, about lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. There's a voice that I've heard for years. I learned to keep it inside. Well, now it's coming in loud and clear. I want a deeper life. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. It's about love, it's about service, it's about laughter and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand, about lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine.
And you can build an ark too.
Before we close, I just have one announcement, and that is today is the last day for you, if you'd like to fill up the membership forms, if you haven't done so already, to qualify to vote at our AGM in April. You can fill your forms out anytime, but we would appreciate if you do it so we have, or you would have more voting power in April.
So remember that we're here to pray with you. Not for you, but with you. So if you have a prayer request, there are forms in the back of the chairs if you're here in the sanctuary, and a prayer box in the coffee area. And if you're online, you can send it to prayer@unityspiritualcenter.com. And occasionally, I'm also on Facebook with Silent Unity and Unity on Facebook weekdays, and it's available every day. So you can go there, and there are prayers, many prayers and videos that you can watch as well. So this is the Prayer of Protection by James Dillett Freeman. And you see the image in behind. Next week, you will see it here on the wall. So it's being installed on Tuesday. So join with me if that's comfortable. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And one favorite Unity song, Let There Be Peace on Earth. So let's sing that together, won't we? And of course, thank you so much for coming. And I want to remind you that I appreciate you and I love you. I love you, each and every one. And know that we always have coffee and cookies. Sometimes we have more than that. So stay and enjoy that with us. And what else do I have to say? Marcia Daly is actually offering the Artist's Way as a facilitator. And it starts on February the 4th, which is next Saturday. You can join online or you can come here in person. It's 12 weeks of, and you think it has to do with being an artist? It doesn't. It has to do with expressing your creativity in whatever form that may take. It is a fabulous, fabulous course and book by Julia Cameron. So see you next week. Bye for now. I love you.